Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Xenns Mangird T2, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Linsoul for providing the Xenns Mangird T2 for a review. Do greatly appreciate it. Linsoul, you rock. Alright, so the Xenns Mangird T2, it is available for $350 on Linsoul, and it includes 7 drivers per side. It is a hybrid. It has 1 dynamic driver for the bass, 4 Sonian BAs, 2 that are for supplements to the bass, and 2 for the mids, and then 2 Knowles BAs for the treble. Has an impedance of 18 ohms, sensitivity 100 decibels, and a frequency response of 20 hertz to 36 kilohertz. Comes in this very nice box. Has a little bit of information on the back. You don't get any pictures, which is interesting. Take the sleeve off, and you're greeted by this nice little box. Take that lid off, and all you see is the carrying case. Taking off that foam, you've got your little airport connector, a 1/4 inch adapter, accessories, envelope, a little certificate of authenticity. You get a little clip for your cable. Actually, little, this is pretty chunky. Squeeze down, run your cable through there, clip that to your shirt. And then you get a bunch of tips. You get 3 sets of tips. You get these silicone ones with red stems. Those are the ones I used. And then you also get some regular silicone tips, which are kind of like KZ Starlines. They got little ridges on them. I didn't mind those tips, but I preferred the red ones. The red ones were just a little more comfortable, as those black ones are a little more flimsy. And then you also get foam tips, which I did not try. Take this carrying case out here. So you have this carrying case, which is very similar, like a TINHIFI case. And inside you have your Xenns Mangird T2s. They have a very, very nice cable. Reminds me a lot of cables that come with Fearless Audio products, or the nicer Moondrop cables. Connects with 2 pins, and there are your T2s, and they are just gorgeous. They're a dark bluish black. Have a little bit of branding on the front. A little bit on the chunky side. A little bit on the fat side. Got to get 7 drivers in there. It's got a fairly decent sized nozzle, a small wing. Overall, I find that they are very well built. They feel sturdy. They look nice. And they have all the right features for me as far as minimal wings, decently long nozzle with a good angle. Put them in your ears and you realize that Xenns Mangird did a fabulous job designing these. With the right tips, you get a good seal, and they isolate outside noises spectacular. They're probably blocking out 85% of outside noises. I mean, this is crazy how good they are. If I type on a mechanical keyboard, can't hear it at all. I can barely hear anybody trying to talk to me unless they're like raising their voice, and I sound like I'm shouting at the microphone right now. They are exceptional at blocking out outside noises. So if you work in a busier environment in an office, or you have a lot of background noise, these will do a pretty good job. Now, I didn't go on any public transit, so I don't know how they would operate on that type of sound, but as far as everything that I use around the house and going around the neighborhood on walks and stuff, these things are exceptional in that regard. Alright, so the Mangird T2 I found to be very well built, isolate outside noises very well, and extremely comfortable. I could wear them for 6 to 8 hours without any discomfort whatsoever. And then also I found that they were easy to drive. They were not picky on what sources they were run on. I played them on anything from a dongle, like a periodic audio Rhodium, all the way through DAPs, Sony WM1A, Sony A105s, and also on desktop with the Mytek Liberty DAC and a headamp GSX Mini Drop THX AAA1 linear, Aueze Deckard, everything that I used with the Xenns Mangird T2, it was happy and content with. And it does scale with better gear. I found that the better the gear, quality of gear, the better the T2 sounded. Speaking of sound, how do the Xenns Mangird T2 sound? Now, I didn't hear the original, so I won't be able to make a comparison to the original. The bass of the Xenns Mangird T2 is awesome. Has nice authority, has good note weight, has very good overall tonality, very good timbre, and exceptionally good detail, retrieval, and resolution. I find that the bass has just about the right amount of authority and punch and slam without being excessive and without being too much to cause fatigue and just overpower. I find it's very well controlled and very detailed with exceptional tonality to it. I love the bass of the Xenns T2. It has enough sub bass to give you that rumble and grumble without being excessive, and it has a good amount of mid bass punch and slam without being in your face and being too much and overpowering the rest of the bass. And then the upper bass has just enough without turning into sounding hollow or dipped. It keeps the right amount as it goes into the mids. And so the mids have a nice transition from the bass. They have good warmth, nice body to it, very good density, and overall just a naturalism about the mids. They have just the right amount of presence without being too forward or being recessed. They're right where they should be. And they have exceptionally good tonality, very good tone and timbre, a nice separation throughout, very good detail, retrieval, and resolution. Overall, I find that the mids are very pleasing without being excessive, elevated, or recessed. They are just right where they should be. And then the treble also remains very much on the neutral side of things, and they have a controlled a controlled presentation to them. They have the proper amounts of elevation and peaks and recessed in the right spots, and they just sound proper, natural, and with good sparkle and good energy. Overall, I really enjoy the T2's frequency response. I find that overall they are very neutral leaning, but with a slight warmth, which gives them a natural tone and timbre. I really, really do enjoy the Xenns Mangird T2. Everything just plays well together, balanced, cohesive, and sounds correct. Soundstage of the Xenns Mangird T2 is right about how I like it. In other words, it sounds like the stage of the music. It allows my imagination to go, yeah, I believe that's the way that stage should be in this song. Whether or not it's a little intimate, cozy studio or a jazz club, an arena, or an outside stadium, or a regular, musical hall. The Xenns do a very good job of portraying the accuracy of a stage. They also do depth and layering very well. Instruments sound on top of each other, but distinct. Everything sounds separated and isolated, but yet all playing together, intermingling properly. Nothing is muddled or distorted or compressed. Everything just plays proper. To me, the Xenns play very, very smoothly and very accurately. Imaging is spot on. You can really pinpoint and follow things around. Has exceptionally good tone and timbre, and I really, really do enjoy the Xenns Mangird T2. How's it compare to some others. Well, when you talk about tone and timbre in an IEM, you have to talk about the SeeAudio Yume. And the SeeAudio Yume has some of the best tone and timbre I've ever heard in an IEM. The Mangird has a little bit thicker note weight, a little bit more body to the notes. The Yume is a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter, and the Yume is a little bit more airy. Not by a lot, but a little bit. And they're very similar to the Xenns Mangird T2, but I find that the Xenns Mangird T2 has just a smidge more of naturalism than the Yume. Also, I find that the Yume lacks just a little bit when it comes to detail, retrieval, and resolution in comparison to the T2. The T2 does beat it out slightly. They're very close, but in my opinion, the T2 is better. Comparing it to the Blessing 2. Now, the Blessing 2 is brighter, has a bigger soundstage, does a slightly better job with detail retrieval than the Xenn, and also does a slightly better job with resolution, but is not as good in tone and timbre, does lack the body weight. Also, it does not have the bass of the Xenns Mangird T2. So between the Xenns Mangird T2, the Blessing 2, and the Yume, I actually choose the T2. I think that the T2 has the better overall presentation. It sounds more natural and correct and does a good job with detail, retrieval, and resolution and tonal balance in comparison to the other two. The other two kind of specialize in certain aspects, whereas the T2 is more of the complete defined and refined of the three, but I highly recommend all three. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links, notification bells, if you haven't already, check those off. And then for music recommendations and how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel, all kinds of other information like gear recommendations and all that kind of stuff, check out the links down below. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. And don't forget to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.